The Galaxy Note 4 is probably our favorite large-format smartphone of 2014, but Samsung, being Samsung, wasn't content to leave its best phablet be. Instead, the company has released the Galaxy Note Edge as a specialized sibling, a carbon copy with a quirky quality to its display. I'm Michael Fisher with a Pocketnow comparison, Galaxy Note Edge versus Galaxy Note 4. In a side-by-side look, what gives the Note Edge its name is obvious. An extra 160 pixels on the right side of its display angled downward, like the leading edge of an airplane wing. We'll get to how the Edge display functions in a second. For this category, we're focused on look and feel, and it does give the Note Edge a totally different character than the Note 4. The devices are almost identical in mass and measurements, but whereas the conventional Note feels robust and balanced, the Note Edge feels strangely less premium. Mainly that's thanks to the asymmetric cross-section of the Edge, which makes it awkward to pick up and hold. And then there's the small details. The omission of the Note 4's reinforced corners and the reduction in chamfers from 2 to 1. Changes reflected even on the volume rockers, in an otherwise nice bit of attention to detail by Samsung. The Note Edge doesn't necessarily feel cheap on its own, but it definitely doesn't give off the same quality vibe as its sibling. Other hardware differences are slight. The Note 4's screen is a touch taller, and there's an almost imperceptible shift in color temperature on our review devices, which is probably just variations across batches. Battery size has been slightly trimmed on the Note Edge as well, but it doesn't seem to affect overall endurance. Otherwise, these are the same, from S Pen to S Health. By the same token, TouchWiz is still TouchWiz. So if you're looking for our take on the software here, check out our earlier review of the Samsung Galaxy Note 4. All our impressions remain the same. The biggest day-to-day difference comes just where you'd expect it to, on the Edge. Samsung has so completely segregated the display extension that it basically serves as an independent secondary screen, and it affects how you use the Note Edge in every single display mode. One of the smallest but also most useful enhancements is the screen's night clock. Turn the screen off, and the Edge screen flickers to life at the lowest brightness setting, reporting the date, the time, and the current weather conditions. Wake up the display to show the lock screen, and you get the Express Me panel alongside, a completely customizable side screen that can show anything from a stock greeting, to an S Pen drawing, to a stock animation, to a custom image. An image that rotates as you move the phone, by the way. It's probably the best named feature of the Edge display because it's there to add an expressive element to the experience, to let you make the Note Edge your own if you're not satisfied just choosing between black and white casing colors. And it's fun. Unlock the Note Edge and you start to see how the added screen affects everyday usability. Of course, the Note 4 allows you to run Android the way you want to. For us, that means folders or shortcuts on almost every home screen, with the occasional side key panel if we're going one-handed for a while. On the Note Edge, the added real estate means you can offload a ton of apps and folders to the side ribbon, freeing up room on the home screen for more widgets or just more open space. Also on the Edge screen, weather, health, news, and quick tools, including timers, an audio recorder, a flashlight, and, yes indeed, a ruler. That stuff's available even when the phone is locked, and you can also download custom plugins from the Galaxy App Store for still more functionality. Yeah, some of this is straight-up Samsung feature bloat, and notifications coming in on the side screen aren't as easy to read on account of, they're sideways. So is the Edge screen a gimmick? Definitely. And if you want a more straightforward software experience, well, obviously the Note 4 is the better choice. But look, raw utility isn't everything. Some of the Edge's add-ons are really cool, and they're implemented with a lot of style, too. Plus, the fact that it's all grouped on the side of the screen gives the Note Edge an unexpected advantage out of the box. It turns out to be quite good for one-handed use. As long as you're right-handed and careful where you rest your thumb. Oh, and as long as you don't mind the camera UI. We're reluctant to dock the Note Edge's viewfinder because it looks so much cleaner than the Note 4's. But the same layout that provides that aesthetic boost also makes the Edge awkward to use when taking photos in landscape. The buttons up top are too easy to hit accidentally, and while portrait mode is a little better, it still demands a very delicate touch. You can use the volume keys as a shutter button, but you can do that on the Note 4 too. Fortunately, the same optics that impressed us on the Note 4 are back on the Note Edge. Performance in all lighting conditions and all shooting modes was nearly identical for us across 3 days of shooting, with the same brilliant colors and the same smooth optical image stabilization keeping things nice and steady more often than not. If you liked the Galaxy Note 4's pictures, you'll like the Edge's just as much. And that goes for the front-facing camera as well. You might expect performance between the two identically spec'd smartphones to be identical, and in the case of our Snapdragon-powered units here, you'd be mostly right. That's talking about the mundane stuff, though. General snappiness, game performance, and the like. More interesting is what happens when, say, a phone call interrupts one of those games. The Note 4 gives you a pop-up window that obscures some of the action, while the Edge uses the added screen space to stay out of your way. And when you're using the Edge to listen to music or an award-winning podcast, you don't need to cover up the app you're in if you want to pause or skip a track. Granted, on the Note 4, it's a very minor inconvenience to do the same thing via the notification tray, but it's more evident that Samsung really thought through the Edge screen. Finally, speaking of speakers, let's talk voice quality. Callers said they heard slightly more background noise on the Note Edge in standard calling mode, and they also said we sounded a little louder, a little closer to overpowering when using the Edge speaker compared to the Note 4's. But the difference was very minor, and for all practical purposes, these are nearly identical. Choosing between these two phones probably won't be too difficult for most folks. We find the Note 4 to be the better, more balanced phone, both literally and in terms of features and day-to-day use. And the Edge's price tag also weighs against it. But if you are willing to spend the money, the Edge experience isn't so much worse that you should avoid it either. After all, it's a Note, and the Note line of smartphones is excellent. If standing out is important to you, or you want to spray just a little more chrome onto a phone already loaded with it, the Galaxy Note Edge gets the job done. If you're looking for a deeper dive on Samsung's most feature-packed Note, stay tuned for our full Note Edge video review coming later this week. And be sure to check out our Galaxy Note 4 review here on YouTube and at pocketnow.com. Till next time, this has been Michael Fisher with Pocketnow, Captain Two Phones on Twitter, urging you not to go over the edge. Yeah, that was lame. Sorry. We'll see you next time.